Good morning, ladies. It is Mystery Quilt Saturday morning. Are you ready for this? I think you'll enjoy this. You should have already received the instructions to purchase your fabric. You got that way early. And then you also got your instructions for the beginning cutting instructions. So I think with that, we are ready to start on our blocks. What we are going to be making is a 7 patch. So you should have your 5-inch squares. You should have 2.5-inch by 5-inch strips. You should have 7 wasn't sure if it was 7.5, 7 by 2.5-inch strips, and some pretty little 2.5 by 2.5 squares. So we're going to put our block together.
And reiterate that this is for the big one, not the little one.
This is to make the 60 by 60 size quilt. Marilyn has instructions for you to make the wall hanging.
And they'll be inserted.
And they will be inserted along with the written instructions on the sizes of the fabric you need. The concept's the same, the blocks are the same, the assembly's the same, the pieces are just smaller. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our 5-inch, 2.5-inch wide strips, and we are going to put right sides together. And we are going to sew these 1/4 inch. Find my foot pedal here. And we're just going to do our 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Alrighty, there's one side. I'm going to finger press that open a little bit. And then you're going to take the other one and do it the same thing on the other side. So you're going to line these up. And that's why I love these that are pinked edges. Because of course, you know, it never lines up real good. And then you think you've got it all off. All right. Okay, so
speaking of pinked edges, go ahead. But do you line it up the pinked edge or the inset edge?
Well, that one, as a matter of fact, is a little on the crooked side. So since your pinked edges, if they were cut off, I don't know that you can see my fingernail, but if you can see the fabric there, that's how I usually line mine up, because the little pink things on the edge are a little extra bonus.
Okay.
So
that's the good news. They're bigger than they need to be.
Yeah, but not by enough to do you a whole lot of good. So one of the things that I found doing this is that when I'm doing this block, I do pretty much my 1/4 inch seam. But I will show you here in a little bit a little trick I found. And some of you that have sewn for a lot more years than I have probably know a lot better tip and could teach me a better way to do this so that in the long run everything lines up well. Okay, so there's that, and that's done, that little piece. Now we're going to take our 7-inch by 2.5-inch strips, and we're going to take our little 2.5 by 2.5-inch squares, and we're going to put right sides together. And I get a little anal on my lineup. I'm not a Jenny Doan. I'm not a fast sewer, and I have to have everything line up or I take the seam ripper to it. Now, in constructing this block, when I'm doing this portion, I am doing a scant 1/4 inch. I'm kind of going just a little bit on the other side of the line there and doing a short 1/4 inch. And you'll see why when we go to put this together. And this doesn't always work, but it's better. I'm gonna finger press that open. So there's that. And then I'm gonna do this one. And it won't take much and we'll have this block constructed. Now you notice I am not strip piecing. Strip piecing is not my thing. I'm a one block wonder. I like to put my blocks together and I like the whole thing put together. I don't like pieces laying all over that you have to match up later and whatever. Some people just will zip this through and will strip piece these things faster than you can even think about it, but that is not me.
However, let me insert that at the end, the last video will have a link to take you to a video that'll show you how to do this quilt using strip piecing methods. So just keep that in mind if you're
a strip piecer. Yeah, that's it. If you're a stripper, which take one look at me, you know that's why I'm not a stripper. There you go. It's okay. So, alrighty, there's our pieces for our block. Now, I'm going to go over to the ironing board. Now, if you look at your Clue 1 instructions that goes with this video, it'll tell you, it'll have little arrows showing you which way to press your blocks, press your seams. Okay? Can't guarantee you that that's how I do it because I don't pay attention to that. I have got the press to the dark side thing inside. So
this ironing board. That's nice. Okay.
Just newly recovered for this video, by the way, because it was muslin and it had stained up pretty well from the retreat from the water. So okay. And I do this the wrong way, so don't anybody watch this.
I was showing the print of the fabric. That's really cute.
Since I'm using a white background, I am putting my seams to the dark side so that the seam doesn't show through the white fabric. So, okay. So now the fun begins. All right, here's my method for what it's worth. Everybody has their own thing. I do not pin anything. I hate to pin. I don't baste, I don't pin. So, you want this, okay, when you put this together, it's going to come out like this. And you want to make sure that you don't have a big gap and that your seam here, that your corners match up nicely. So the way I do it is I kind of stand on my head. Don't pay any attention to where your seams fall over here because your seams are not going to fall right over here. And if you butt your fabric up against this seam and sew it, 9 times out of 10, your seam line here is not going to line up right, and then you're not going to be happy with it and you'll be tearing it out. Ask me how I know. Okay, so see, if I had my ends together, look how far off. Look how far off my fabrics are there. Okay, that won't work. So I am pulling that over so that my colored fabrics are right together and I'm a little bit high. So I fiddle with this just a little bit until it suits me. Now if you notice, all right, that's where I think I want my seam. But if you look, that doesn't quite meet the end. And that's just the way it is. I'm more concerned about having my ends or my little corner fabric, colored fabric, match up. And I don't really care that I'm not even 1/8 of an inch off probably, but still, I don't care. And now, let me get the rest of this lined up pretty good here before I take off.
So as you can see, Lisa might not be a stripper, but she is a nester.
Well, yeah, kinda.
She nests herself.
Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's see what this looks like. Is that good or what?
That's a nester.
Ta-da!
Yes, all right.
All right, so we're going to flip it over, and you want to make sure that your other square goes on the other end. Okay? So we're going to stand on our heads again. See where my colored fabric ends up here. Well, I'm way high there. Yep. Okay. So once I get it there, I kind of leave my finger on that seam till I get this where I want it to get it in the machine. Yeah, so. And when you get part of the way down, I don't know about you, but the seam underneath will catch here.
Yes.
So I get part of the way and I stop and I have to lift that because I don't want my seam to go the wrong way and be sewn down wrong back there. That's a calamity.
I swear every sewing machine has that little lip
That
there.
little dip there, yeah.
You need to address that.
All right. Oh, dang, when you're good, you're good. I figured as many of these that didn't go quite right, I wouldn't get a good one when we were filming. So here we go. So that is your finished block. So you only need to do 41 of these.
Okay, introduce that one.
Okay, now here is the block if you're making the wall hanging. Now do you see why I'm making the large quilt? Marilyn's making the wall hanging because that's just too little for me. So there is your block. It looks the same. It's a little smaller. What's it end up? About 4.5? 4?
4, yeah.
4?
I think, yeah.
Okay. So that's your small block.
Okay, anytime.
Okay. The fabrics that I'm using for this, I purchased at Missouri Star Quilt Company on our bus trip. So I bought Country Rose by Lila Boutique, and it's all Moda fabrics. And there's all kinds of colors, different patterns in the charm packs. I bought 4 of these because I'm going to make a king size quilt. So today, when you're done, I have like 3 more of these to do, or 3.5, in order to have about 4 of them to put together to make a king size. So you're not going to see a finished quilt from me today because I haven't been working on this long enough to be that far along. But I also have these fabrics that I purchased to go with it. My inside border, binding, and my outside border.
Pretty.
Now the pattern calls for binding only, but because I want to expand this quilt and make it king size, I'm putting an inside border, probably about a 2.5 inch, an outside border, and then this is as my binding on there. So just to try to stretch it a little bit. I also cheated because I knew I was going to be making this much larger. Instead of cutting 1.5 tons of 2.5-inch strips for the sides of the quilt, I cheated and got a jelly roll. Because I don't like to cut.
That's smart. Yeah.
So I have a jelly roll, and then I also bought matching background yardage of the same color and maker of the jelly roll fabric. So, okay, so this is done, so we have to press it again. So, and I'm sorry, but this is my little, I can't stand, I have to go through and cut all these off because all those little things sticking out bug me. That's why it takes me so long to get anything done. Okay. I'm just going to, I know you're supposed to press and not iron, and I don't always do real well at that. Okay. All right. So I've had some that I've done so far that are a little more off than that. But as far as everything matching up at our ends, right here you can see this is just a hair. And if you're going to have some that are probably going to be a hair short, that's why I said when you put this together, when I'm doing these, I'm doing a scant quarter on these, and I'm doing a regular 1/4 inch here, the scant quarter to try to make it so that it fits better. And if it really bothers you, you can trim it up. Me, it's close enough. So I'm going to throw that on my pile over here. So that's how we make our blocks. You've got 40 more to go.